All right, good morning, guys. This is the quadratic formula and the discriminant. Because I want to keep these videos short, I'm just going to go over the quadratic formula in this video, probably the more important of the two things. The quadratic formula helps you solve for your x, or the x-intercepts or the roots or the solutions on a quadratic. And it's all based off of this formula right here. So that'd be the first thing you want to get into your notes. Minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You do have to have it memorized. This takes a little time, but you'll get it down here. And here's how it works. First, you got to put the quadratic in standard form, which means move everything to one side. If you move everything to one side, you'd have x squared. Okay, now we want to organize from the highest degree to the lowest degree. So the next lowest degree would be 2x, but you got to move it over to the left by subtracting it. That's why it's minus 2x. Then you put the minus 8 equals 0. In the quadratic formula, it goes in order. A is your leading coefficient, B is your second one, and C is your last one, as long as you have it organized in standard form. Now remember, it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So when I do this, I'll make a whole bunch of open parentheses. Now I got to fill in the right numbers in the right spots. All right, so your b value is first. Your b value is negative 2. It goes twice. Your a value is 1. Your c value is negative 8. Your a value is 1. I always treat this in three parts. The first part is the top left corner. 2 negatives in a row is a positive 2, plus or minus square root of. The next part, I get the part in parentheses down to one number. In the calculator or in your head, you would type this portion in exactly as you see it. The parentheses minus 2, squared minus 4, and then 1, then the negative 8, exactly as you see it. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong answer. But in all honesty, doing it in your head is not that bad either. Negative 2 squared is 4. And then negative 4 times 1 times negative 8 is 32. So it'd be 36. All over 2. Now, because of the plus or minus, you have two answers. Your first one is 2 plus 6 over 2. The square root of 36 is 6. And then 2 minus 6 over 2. Your final answer for this one is 8 over 2, and 8 over 2 reduces to 4. On the other side, you got 2 minus 6, that's negative 3. I'm sorry, negative 4. Divided by 2 is negative 2. Your two answers are x equals 4 and x equals negative 2. All right. Okay. So we really just have one more example to show you, and then that's about it. Organized in standard form is your first thing you should be thinking about. The highest degree is x squared, and then it's minus 4x. You got to move the 21 over. It'd be a negative 21 when you move it over. Remember, it goes in order of A, B, C. The original formula, use parentheses, otherwise things don't go so well. Minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right. Okay, your b value is negative 4. A value is 1. And c is negative 21. Treat this as working it in three parts. The first part is 2 negatives in a row equal positive 4, plus or minus square root. Now you got to get this down to one number by typing all of that into the calculator or doing it in your head. Negative 4 squared is 16, and the rest of it would be positive 84. So 16 plus 84 would be 100, all over 2. Now let's kind of talk about this square root business here. The square root of 100 is 10. It's a really nice number. There's going to be times where it's not a nice number. You know, you're going to get a decimal, which is fine, but you'll have to be able to type that in your calculator and get the right answer. The two equations from this one would be 4 plus 10 over 2 and 4 minus 10 over 2. 7 is what you'd get on the first one. And negative 3 is what you'd get on the second one. So this parabola, crosses the x-axis at 7 and at negative 3. Okay, so that's the quadratic formula. Here's what I didn't quite get to. It would be deciding when to use graphing, when to use square roots, factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. We're not too big on completing the square. It was 9.5. It's not the preferred method. The preferred method is typically these three here: square roots, factoring, and then the quadratic formula. And just to kind of touch on this, just a touch. On letter A, you'd add 9 to both sides, divide by 3, and then take the square root of both sides. Letter B, you would use the AC method. Number 6, you'd use the quadratic formula because you have such a big A and C number. Letter D, you could use the quadratic formula. You could try to use the AC method, but it doesn't appear like that one's going to work. So you would be forced to use the quadratic formula. And letter E, the numbers are so big, you would use the quadratic formula. Okay, and that's really all I want to cover in this video. If you have questions, come and see me before or after school. Other than that, have a great day, everyone.